Hello, my name is Winston Silver. This is my presentation on the origin and impact of globalization. The country I chose was Turks and Caicos. This is the country introduction and colonial history. The country is the Turks and Caicos Islands. The region is the Caribbean North America. Colonial history, formerly under Spanish, French, and finally British control, became a British overseas territory. Colonial impact: British influence shaped political institutions, language, legal systems, and infrastructure. The Turks and Caicos Islands were colonized due to their salt resources and strategic location among shipping routes. The British established Western style governance, legal systems, and trade institutions that continue to influence society today. And colonial legacy embedded English as the official language and established infrastructure that supported modern tourism. Economic globalization. Tourism and offshore finance dominate the economy. Heavy reliance on foreign investment and imports. Gross domestic product, driven largely by the service sector. The economy is primarily service based, with tourism and offshore finance dominating GDP. Foreign investment drives development, but reliance on imports makes the islands vulnerable to global price shocks. Strong ties with the US, Canada highlight the role of tourism globalization in shaping employment and national revenue. Political globalization. As a British overseas territory, it has access to UK diplomatic support and adherence to global democratic norms. Participates participates in UN specialized agencies and regional Caribbean governance. As a British overseas territory, Turks and Caicos benefits from UK diplomatic support and adherence to global democratic standards. Their participation in UN agencies and regional Caribbean organization enhances their political presence in the global arena. This alignment provides legitimacy in policy making. Cultural globalization. English is the official language with an island blend. American and British media influence culture and lifestyle. Tourism introduces diverse cultural influence. So the English language is spoken here, but it's more of the England English, not the US broken English. English dominance coupled with British and American cultural imports shapes the island's identity. Global tourism has brought diverse cultural influences, creating a blend of Caribbean tradition with Western lifestyles. Cultural globalization also influences consumer behavior and entertainment trends. Pros and cons of globalization. Pros: economic growth via tourism and offshore banking, improved infrastructure and healthcare due to foreign aid and investment. Cons: vulnerable to external economic shocks such as global recessions and pandemics, environmental degradation from overdevelopment. Globalization has brought prosperity through tourism and offshore banking while improving healthcare and infrastructure through foreign investments. However, over-reliance on global markets leave the islands exposed to external crises like the COVID-19 epidemic and climate disasters. Environmental strain from overdevelopment is a key concern. Multinational corporation, beaches resorts, why enter tourism opportunity, tax incentives, and English speaking population challenges, infrastructure, hurricane preparedness, Opportunity, high-end market, U.S. proximity. Beaches resorts, part of the Sandals Group, enter Turks and Caicos due to favorable tax laws, proximity to North America, and demand for luxury tourism. While boosting employment and tourism, the company faces challenges from hurricanes and sustainability concerns. However, its presence strengthens the island's high-end tourism brand. International institutions. Caribbean Development Bank provides development loans for infrastructure and disaster recovery. United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean supports sustainable growth policies. The Caribbean Development Bank provides funding for infrastructure and disaster resilience, while ECLAC supports sustainable growth incentives. These partnerships help the islands balance economic growth with environmental and social sustainability, ensuring resilience in the face of global risks. Trade bloc and agreements. Trade bloc, CARICOM, Caribbean Community. Agreements, duty-free trade with Caribbean nations, regional cooperation in tourism and environmental standards. As part of CARICOM, Turks and Caicos benefits from duty-free trade, regional cooperation, and collective tourism marketing. This membership supports trade diversification and enhances resilience against global shocks by promoting Caribbean solidarity. Trade partners and exchange rates. Top partners: the US, the UK, and the Dominican Republic. Exports: lobster, salt, and seafood. Imports: food, fuel, and manufactured goods. Exchange rate impact pegged to USD ensures stability in tourism and imports pricing. The US, UK, and the Dominican Republic are the main trade partners. Exports include salt and seafood, while imports consist largely of food, fuel, and manufactured goods. The US dollar peg stabilizes the economy and ensures tourism pricing remains attractive to visitors, reducing currency fluctuation risk. Conclusion and fun fact. Why chosen? This is the island where my family is from, and I take pride being a descendant from Turks and Caicos. Unique example of a microeconomy dependent on tourism and globalization. Fun fact: Turks and Caicos is one of the only territories where the national sport is cricket, despite its small population. The island reflects both the promises and perils of globalization and small economies. Home to unique culture, beautiful scenery, and people, the Turks and Caicos Islands represent a microeconomy shaped heavily by globalization, selected for the unique blend of colonial history and tourism driven development. They showcase the strengths and vulnerabilities of small island states. Fun fact: cricket remains the national sport, reflecting lingering British influence. This concludes my presentation. These were the references used within my presentation. I hope you all have a great day and God bless.